What does it mean, therefore? I am as my servant thinks I am. Meaning, when things happen to you, when you repent, when you pray to Allah, when you do good deeds, when you die, all this means assume well of Allah that He will take care of you on one condition, on the condition that you do the action necessary for it. It doesn't mean that whatever you want, just assume it about Allah and He will give it to you. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that Allah saying, I am the way my servant thinks of me. It doesn't mean that if I want something, I just have to think of Allah well and He will give it to me. That is false, and all the scholars have spoken against it. So for example, if I think well of Allah, yet I don't obey Allah, I don't do my 5 daily prayers, for example, which He commanded me, and He told me that 5 daily prayers are a course to enter paradise, or I don't fast Ramadan without an excuse or a reason, and Allah tells me the people who fast will enter paradise, or I continue to do major sins and I don't care, and Allah has told me major sins can lead you into hellfire, can land you into hellfire. Allah ordered, for example, she's a woman, Allah ordered her to dress in her hijab, but she says, no, I don't have to, I assume well of Allah. Or a man, Allah ordered him to look after his family and to spend on his family within his means, but he goes and oppresses them, and he says, I assume well of Allah, I go to the mosque 5 times a day. Brothers and sisters, it doesn't work that way. I can't sit there saying, I assume well of Allah, and I'm airy-fairy about it, but I will not obey Allah. Half of my life is living in disobedience. I don't do what needs to be done in order to earn Allah's pleasure. Otherwise, there's no need for anybody to worship or do anything. When I say that I assume of Allah well, then I will get whatever I assume. And then I say, if I think it so much and if I assume of Allah well, He will manifest it for me. That's what they say. If I think well of Allah, this hadith means I will get my manifestation, I'll get what I want. No, that's not how it works. Oh, they say sometimes, but it happened to me. Habibi, this is what you think. There are so many things that don't happen. In that case, everybody will just get whatever they want. Life will be bliss. This is it. This is paradise. So to think of Allah well means that it has to accompany action. Action. Amal. الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Those who believe and then follow it up with the righteous actions. Not just believe without action. Of course, there are people who believe sincerely and wholeheartedly. They don't do the right actions and may go on the day of judgment. Allah will judge them and they may be punished. But eventually, they'll be taken out of the punishment and placed into paradise if they had sincere tawheed and monotheism and never made partners with Allah. But after the punishment, after the consequence, and after Allah's discretion. So brothers and sisters, please do not make this mistake, because this is how the shaitan will delude you from becoming a righteous person and fulfilling the purpose that Allah created you here. Allah will not tell you pray 5 times a day and say I commanded you, and then say to you there is a punishment for doing major sins, and then He says to you just assume good of me and you don't have to do it. That is a contradiction. That's not what it means. So we can't take one hadith and leave the rest out. We can take one verse of the Quran and ignore the rest. It all is a package. It comes together and each supports the other.